Before the sound, there was a story. Before the rhythm, there was a memory. From Africa to the diaspora, our music carries us. You are listening to the Akojokpo Music Foundation podcast, where Pan-African art music professionals gather to share their stories.
Akojokpo.
So, hello, Aderayo. You said you were part of Akojokpo's kind of like concert planning team, right? Or
Yeah, some years ago.
okay, sorry, you were just cutting out at that time. And I guess I'm interested. Did you go to are you a Muzan graduate?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
I
okay,
graduated from Muson 2017.
okay, awesome.
And
What
yeah,
do you as a composer, or do you also play the piano or other instruments?
voice major.
Okay, that's awesome. Let me just find these questions.
Most people don't say voice majors are awesome.
No,
People
no,
think voice majors are not instrumentalists.
no, no, you are. Oh my goodness, you are. You guys are instrumentalists. The voice is it's an instrument, and don't mind them. It's just people that don't know how to use their voice as well as voice majors. Let me let me
Yeah,
get to these questions.
your type is rare.
No, no, I'm telling you, it's not easy. It's not easy. I know people, especially like when they're pianists or play other instruments, they might say, well, voice majors, they don't understand like the structure, right? The music theory, some of these other things that ground the voice, right? But that's not true. It's not true that all sort of voice majors or people that focus on the voice don't know those things. So it's just a bias, but we have to work to deconstruct those biases. Let me Okay. So did you
Yeah,
also go to oh sorry, did you also go to like Unilag, or is it just
yes,
Muson?
I did. I also funny story. I tried applying to Muson for a very long time. I didn't get in. So, but I had what it takes to get into University of Lagos. So after getting to University of Lagos, I was done. I didn't feel like I've done a lot. Like I really want that one-on-one teaching that Muson offers to voice majors and even to other instruments. This um,
Mhm.
um, um, strong mentorship that Muson gets to offer to musicians. So, and I really like Mrs. Marion Akbata, the late Miss Marion Akbata. She was, I've always liked her way of interacting with students and how she's disciplined and principled, and then how she teaches, music. So I was like, instead of going
Wow.
for masters, why not just go to Muson? It sounds crazy, right? Like you just finished University of Lagos and then you went to a diploma school. But I
No,
knew
no,
what I wanted.
it's important. It's important. And maybe if other people didn't know about Mizan, it's like, okay, why would you do that instead of going for a master's? But Mizan, like if you're talking about like art music, it's like it's the place to be in Nigeria. And so there are Mizan
Yes,
graduates that are all over the world, whether it's working within the musical arts or, in some ways teaching or performing. And so it's like a launching pad for something that's always bigger and something, greater. So I think you made the right decision going to Muzan. Um,
yes, I did.
okay. What
Yes,
what else was I gonna ask? Do you know Professor Stephen Obisoji?
he was my HOD and my project supervisor when I was in University of Lagos, and then he taught us
Okay.
composition in University of Lagos, composition in Muson. So it was also he taught me in University of Lagos, and then he taught me in Muson.
Okay. Wow. Wow. I didn't even know it was an instructor in Muzan, but um why do I know this guy? Somebody introduced him to me. This was like at the University of Michigan where I am now, there used to be a professor from Ghana. His name is Kwasi Mpene, but
Okay.
he introduced me to Professor Olusoji. There's a time where I was looking for a place to like do Yoruba language study, and so he had helped me. He had helped me set up this program with somebody else kind of the department that handles language at Unilag, but I ended up going with a Fulbright program to University of Ibadan at the Ibi Shefun Ede Yoruba. So that's kind of where I, picked up the small Yoruba I can hear and speak now. And, you
Hello.
know, Kushel, wait, so what time is it on your own side? Oh, yeah,
Uh,
Kale.
yes, the Kaleo.
Yeah,
Hi.
even is it to 8?
Yes, it's evening. Ekale.
Okay. Oh yeah, and here's the afternoon. So,
Uh, yes, that the time
like,
zone.
Akasa. Exactly. No, no, but it's okay. It's okay. It makes sense. It makes sense. Even we just shifted 1 hour, so it kind of it's throwing me off. For the people I talk to in Nigeria, it's like now we're a full 6 hours away instead of before it was 5 hours. So it used to feel close, a little bit closer. So,
Yeah.
um, okay, this is good. This is good. Um, yeah, it's just good to know that you've been at Muzan, you've been at Unilag. Even when I came and I did my research, I would go around the, kind of like the department of, for the arts and whatnot. There'll be people like doing rehearsal for like, stage plays and other sorts of productions outside, making the
Yeah, most of,
noise.
yeah.
So
Sorry.
no, no, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Um, but no, yeah, it was such a good time, and I remember asking a lot of students good questions in that sort of space. So it's like while I listen back to the recordings and I try and type out what was happening, I'm also hearing like these productions that they were trying to put together in that space at Unilag at the time. So it was just good. It was a good time. So I look back fondly on my fieldwork in Nigeria. Okay, so let's get started with the interview. Um, oh yeah, and even about myself, again, my name is, you got me, Joshua, but I'm just an ethnomusicologist. I'm a seventh year PhD student here at the University of Michigan. I'm just trying to finish up. Daniel and I mean, I know maybe you've seen more about like the publishing arm of Akojokpo. That was kind of something that he was talking with me about, and we ended up, growing to the point where it is now. And now he kind of pushed me into doing this blog. So at least it's something, right? I'm able to talk with all these wonderful people. So yeah, I'm here. I'm around. I came to the concert that you guys had in Lagos, and I think it was
Oh,
2023. I was there. I was
oh,
around. Yeah.
oh, that's
So
interesting.
oh yeah,
Oh,
it's a good concert. But no, no, I've been around. So
nice.
I've been here. No, yeah, been here, been there. So it was nice to be involved with Akko Jokbo, of course, here in the U.S., but then also going to Nigeria. Hopefully, I remember they were planning to go to South Africa for some time. Hopefully, they take me with them if they go to South Africa. But yeah. Let's get started with the interview. Are you there?
Wow, that's
So the first question is, how would you define African art music? And I really want you to bring out this perspective as a voice, major, right? Somebody that focuses on the voice. How would you define African art music?
when I read the question. Yes, I can. I'm trying to process. Although have I have some things know written out,
Okay.
but I also want to speak. Oops. Oh wow!
Cool.
Can you?
Yeah, you keep cutting in and out. Maybe if you cut your camera, maybe that will help the voice to come through. I don't know if you would like to try that one, but it just keeps freezing.
So you don't mind that I'm not with the camera.
Maybe it will come through more consistently.
Okay.
Okay, oh yeah. You
All
can hear
right.
me, right?
Okay.
Okay.
So I was saying that yes, I can hear you. I was
Mm,
saying that I had some things written. I had something written out. So
mm,
it might sound, but I like the question. I think it made me really dig deep into some things that I haven't had a look into for a
mm,
while. But yes, for me, African art music. I think I'll like divide it into two: art music in itself, and then African music in itself. More like African art. African music is one that is rich in culture, rich in rhythm, rich in I wanted to say conversation, but I mean I think conversation will not work well with with the words in music, but it is rich in history. So having art music, and I think art music is like the educated part of African music. Art music, makes us know that we can read this music, we can learn this music, we can notate them. So combining both together, I always feel like even the contemporary music should not, pull apart from art music, because it's like you're creating a footprint that can last forever, for a lifetime, with our story, with our sound, with our culture. So for me, African art music is the blend of culture and education, and um, preserving the history of African music.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's awesome. And I even liked when you brought up this aspect of a conversation because yeah, and for for the classes that I have to teach here at the University of Michigan, I have been getting kind of like a series of guest lectures, and I was listening to the music of Fela Kuti, right, Afrobeat, but you know, I was trying to discuss this music with my students, and so he even later in his life describes his music as like, African classical music, which is really interesting to think about. But the thing that really, kind of sticks out to me, especially when we talk about this conversation, is, even in Fela's music, it always has this rich sort of call and response. So it's never that something is just put out there for people to listen to and to not respond to in some way, whether it's even with praise and adoration or with to challenge what he's saying. But even as the music is playing, there are all these aspects of the music where his group is adding in, they're responding with their own. It's like there's always a conversation that is happening. And
Yeah.
so it's just interesting to me that African music is always so antiphonic, right? Based on this call and response, that it's not like, oh, it's my music. It's not that, oh, it's your music. It's that it's our music, something that we are creating through our interaction. So I like that focus on the conversation.
Yes, yes, yes. So yes, I totally agree, because it's something that, it's that identity of humanness in our music. It's
Right.
about it. It's about conversing with the other person. It's about, you know telling 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 you about what we believe in. Like you said,
Mm.
religious music. It's about our tradition, what we know, what our way of life has been. I feel like if you listen to a lot of African art music, at some point you'll be fluent in just knowing our history, knowing our culture, knowing, like, if and that's what music does. Music is really like an integral part of the society of any people. So yeah, I agree.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And then I was even trying to tell them like, you know, even though he's like using, let's say he's using a folk song in this particular song, like Alujan Junkie John or, Bagada Bagada Bogodo Bogodo. It's like you don't even understand the context. It's like, even like imagine like Moonlight Tales, right? And even when, let's say like within Yoruba oral literature, somebody is like giving something, it's like even in the context of that story, like let's say they want to tell you like a folk story, right? There might be a song or something that is almost like musical, that is drawing people that know the story to also participate, right? So it's like there's all these interesting little aspects of even like, directly for Yoruba culture and engaging the people that are listening to or are involved in something. right? It just seems like there's always this conversation like you described. You're always learning more about the history. You're learning about how a people are through their music. And I do feel like anyway, with a discussion of African art music, that has to be there. It's hand in hand. So anyway, um yeah, I don't know if you want to say anything more about that, then I'll ask you in the next question.
I'm good.
Okay, awesome. Um So the next question is, what are your musical practices and how many years have you pursued music? So, of course, I'm going to hear about the voice, but have you played or been interested in any other sort of instrument?
Yes. This is the part where I don't think I'm very proud of myself,
No, no, you should be.
especially in terms of musical instrument. For like I I have to musical instruments where I did, being a music student and a voice major, it's a must. It's your second major instrument. So why I said I don't feel very proud of myself in regards to other musical instrument aside from voice, is I have never been able to, or maybe let me not use never, or I've been trying to be fluent in playing my piano, but it just, I don't know. It just, well, I don't know. I can tell you, I can give you instructions, I can teach you, I can let you know everything that is there to know, tell you the chords to my song, but to play it like like a jazz music, yeah, like a jazz artist or like a full-blown pianist, no, it's gone. Like I just get this jittery shakiness, and but I've also played, so because of my background also with Muson School of Music, you are also required to have some minor instrument, the clarinet, the trumpet, and the all my drums. So yeah, everything, all these instruments are part of my education. Yeah. So I play musical instrument, but not fluently as like a major. But my major is my voice for that. And then based on my musical practices, I think right now, my major exposure right now is music education and performing. So I was thinking, I always remember my song in Akojopo, and I'm like, I think I need to have another song up with Akojopo. And for a while now, okay, this it's not been easy, like it's not been easy for me to access that creativity in terms of creating new music. But I realized that the teaching and passing knowledge has been a passion, and is really coming to light now. And then to answer your question, how long have I been doing music professionally? I'd say 2004.
Okay, okay. But that's fine. I guess it makes sense. You could tell me also how long you've been like singing in general, you know? Like how long you, I mean, yes, as a profession since 2004, but when did you know like I want to be a singer and you start to pick up these things? Is that also like 2004
Can you
or
hear
is it
me?
even earlier? I was just
I
wondering
think I
because you told me
started in general. How long?
yeah, so when did you know you wanted to be a singer or pursue music professionally, I guess? Was it 2004 and that's when you started it professionally or did you
Yeah,
know before then?
yeah. So before I was just very curious about music.
Okay.
Primary school. I don't know what you call that. Yeah, that would
It's
be
fine.
an
Elementary.
elementary. Yeah. So
Mm.
um, I'll sing, and then I was even branded the most beautiful voice in the whole school. Then I'm like, oh wow, okay.
Mm.
Um, And so after that, just, when something just comes to mind, I'm like, okay, my voice is nice, not because I feel like my voice is nice. My voice is good because other people said it, that my voice is nice. So that's what made me, my voice made me come to the realization of, oh, my voice is nice. It was people's compliment. And then after secondary school, I think secondary school made me know that I think I want to do this for the rest of my life. So, and that was that's 2004. That's
Mm.
when I finished I think that would be high school.
Yes, yes. And then after that, it's kind of how you
After
came
that,
to.
it's been no turning back. I have to do this. I must do this. And then
Right.
I had classes that I was open to. I was teaching, so I was learning. I didn't school in Lagos. I schooled in the northern part of Nigeria. So there
We're
were
in the we're in
no,
the north. We're in the north.
yes,
But where?
Gombe State, Gombe
Okay,
State.
Gombe. Okay, Gombe. Wow.
Yes, yes. So that's where I did my high school, and then
Okay.
I'll come to Lagos, learn some things. Lagos is full of a lot of minds, and people. It's very open,
Mm.
everywhere. And then people are learning, people are teaching. So I'll come learn in Lagos and then go back and pass on the knowledge to people who I know they don't have access to this knowledge that I have gotten for my voice. So it just brought out that teaching aspect. So you see, teaching again. So it's the
Mm.
teaching aspect of for me has always been there as much as the singing has always been there.
Okay. Wow. Wow. And I see that you've always had this desire to, when you learn something, to also give it to somebody else. And your story in many ways, it reminds me of like Idris Abdul Karim, who was in Kanu. Even a lot of my family, we're not Yoruba, we're like from northern Edo State. They still spent time in the north when things were different, right? And so it's like, even for Idris Abdul Karim, he knew that at one point in time, it's like, okay, I'm too big for Kanu. I said I want to pursue rap. I want to be hip hop. We went to
Yeah.
Lagos, and that's how I was able to pick up these things. But it's nice that you've been also able to go back, make this connection. And I also think that when you grow up in a place like the North, or you spend time in a place, place like the North, that's not in that immediate area that you say is for your ethnic group, right? Or even of your religion, the way that you think about your position to Nigeria is very different than those when, let's say, you go back to Lagos, or throughout Yoruba land, people might be, not to say tribalistic, but thinking about their culture and what they want to pass on in a different way than you, that came from somewhere different, is learning these things and is open to learning more and then also passing it on. It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah, it is.
Mm.
It
Okay.
is.
So I guess you described a little bit about your background, but what is your background and how does it inspire your musical practices? Was it that your parents we're in the north? Are you originally like a Lagosian, and that your parents got a job in the north? They said, okay, it's time for us to move. How does how do you become a singer from this experience that you're having in the north and then come back to Lagos?
Okay, so the experience is my dad travels a lot and he moves around for work. He's a businessman.
Okay.
So because of that, he had this idea that we could get quality education and not really not as expensive as Lagos.
Yes, yes. So was it
Yes.
like a boarding school?
No, it wasn't. We got a rented apartment.
Okay, wow.
Yes, and so myself and my brother, my,
Mm,
I have a brother, so
mm.
we were always the one that we were enjoying the moving around of my parents. So we moved
Yeah,
around a lot, and then
yeah.
because of that moment, he got a contract with the government of Gombe State. So we moved
Oh,
we moved with him. So it's usually when
mm,
it's a particular state or a particular country, we move with him. But Gombe seemed to be like the longest. I think we did 4 years. I did 4 years in Gombe State. I
okay, wow.
finished. DS3. That's junior junior high school to
Mm.
my senior high school. So
Okay, wow.
yes. So he was the type that, oh, you could sing, you can always sing, it's not a problem. But when I now said he was going to be professional, it was like, eh, and
Yeah.
my ambition has always been to be a medical doctor, and so I
Mm.
was in science class. So that switch between arts and science,
Mm.
making that connection, yeah, don't burn my money, Miss.
Yeah.
What are you thinking? You can always do music by the side, that's fine, but not like a. And I think he's the one that spurred the, you must, if you want to do music, then you must know how to do it well and get a
Mm.
certificate.
Mm.
So that's where it's true, I need a certificate. Muson was available. So I tried applying to Muson and I didn't get in. And I was
Mm.
like, no, if you can't, you won't do roadside, you won't be a roadside musician. You won't just be, oh, I can sing. You have to be educated. So you
Right.
have to, that education was important to him. So I think that made me think, okay, where else, how can I get education? And then the
Mm.
next big, school was University of Lagos.
Okay.
And he's like,
Wow.
yes, so that's university. Yes, go on, whatever it is, get to do it. Yeah,
Right.
so that
Okay. Wow.
that's the journey into that. It wasn't easy, but
Mm. And then you said other states and other countries as well. Like, would you mind mentioning some of them? Like, what other countries did you spend time in? What other states did you spend time in?
not African countries like Benin
Yeah.
Republic.
Yeah. Benin
Benin
Republic.
Republic.
Uh,
Yes, so I think we did like 2 years in
mm.
Benin Republic, and then
Mm.
later after Gombe, I moved to Maiduguri. After Maiduguri, I moved to Abuja.
Mm. Okay. Wow.
Like
No, all over the place. All over the place.
all over,
Wow.
yes. So
Mm.
Benin Republic opened me to this polyrhythm, that type of music, Egun music.
Mm.
I don't know if you are open to that. Look, that the music in Benin Republic is mind blowing. Like it's, oh, I have this rush of the sweetness just talking about
Mm.
it, and that culture, the the language, the
Mm.
people, the singing.
Mm.
So having to experience that also. Sometimes I try to want to put that in. It's part of my influence in composition. Like you're thinking, how else can I make my composition very African and very rich, where you can't actually say, oh, this is in Yoruba, this is no, you can feel the different places I've moved in, lived in. You can feel it
Mm.
even in some of my composition.
Right. It's like all of it is coming together to
Yes, it
inspire
didn't
what
make
you're
sense at
doing.
the time. I didn't even think it would make sense.
Mm.
I just knew that somebody was
Wow.
dragging me all over the place. Like, no, I need to have friends. I was like, I want to have friends. I want to have rich relationship. But this movement,
Yes. Mm.
oh, like this
Almost.
moment is not giving that. But in the
Mm.
end, after all of this, like looking back now,
Mm.
I'm like, yeah, it's actually good. But I won't get my child to do that.
Oh, to be moving all over the place, right?
Yeah, that moving, yeah, that's a way of just, you know, if you're not strong and grounded, you might,
Yes.
you might have. So I think at some, maybe when you're in your teenage years, maybe like 16, when you have, some deeply rooted experiences, when you move around, at least you're stronger in emotions for
Mm.
that. I feel that's my own opinion. Like you're stronger
Mm.
with your emotions, and you can handle some of this. You can handle some of the things that life will throw at you, even when you move
Yes.
around.
Mm.
So, for me, that's my conclusion with moving around at a very young age. Like,
Okay. Wow.
let me
Wow.
stay with spirit a bit.
No, no. You're right. I think especially when you're moving around at a young age, so many places, it's like you're never really grounded somewhere, as you said, to where you feel like, okay, I understand this, or I feel comfortable in this place before you start to go to others. But it's nice hearing that you spent time in Benin Republic. Like my uncle, and he's, he's a redeemed pastor, but he usually will, they do mission trips to, Benin Republic. So when I stayed in Nigeria, I was mainly in Festac. So this guy would always be like, I'm heading to Badagry, going to Seme border, you understand me? Always crossing into the Benin Republic. And so, no, Benin Republic is good. We share a lot of things with them, and there's plenty of Yoruba, you know, plenty of Yoruba people in Benin Republic. And so, no, yeah, I think even I forgot where Ara Star came from. Was it not Benin Republic or something like that? Initially, I even have to Google this just so I have my mindset with this. And yeah, I just looked it up. What's her name? Ara Star was in. I think she was born in, and I know she spent time in Cotonou, so she was in Benin Republic. So at least it was a good place for you to grow up, to get some of this idea of culture, to still, even though it's not immediately like all you're about, to still have that connection in terms of culture, and then you taking it to other places where you've gone. So that's really, it's good. It's really good. Um, and I know I have fun writing about how all of these trips and this time and places has inspired the way that you approach your music.
Yes.
Um, so who are your like artistic teachers and mentors, and what did you learn from them? Like I remember you mentioned I don't know, I can't remember her name, Miss Mary, and then you also mentioned, I mean, we did talk a
Carry
bit,
on, Nakata.
yeah, Mary Napata, and then also Stephen Olusoji, right? I don't know if I don't, he doesn't have to be influential here, but if you would like to speak more about what you learned of each one of them, so for the recording at least.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Mm,
So this one of the things that these two people, one of the things they both stand for is being disciplined with your art, being
mm,
disciplined with your ideas. Being giving it structure, giving it a structure in sense, not ABA and not the homophonic, like giving it
mm,
giving it a form of like understanding the music, that it can change people's mind towards anything. It is a tool. So you're not just singing to people and thinking it's just music, they just enjoy it. Your music needs to have an effect in the mind of people, and then you
mm,
need to act like it, like that your music has effect on people. So whatever you want to give out, it has to be original. And then whatever if you're doing other people's music, for example, Miss Marion, if you're doing, she knows almost all the songs in this world. So when you're performing a song and you're not doing the right thing, she's like, I think in this session, I think you should work on this note. I think, she'll still tell you, this thing and this and this and this. So sometimes you feel, oh, I'm just inspired, let me sing it this way. Then you hear, no, you have to do the right thing.
mm,
She redirects you to do the right thing. The music is there for, know the music, understand the rudiments of music, understand the rules of harmony. Then when
mm.
you understand it, then you can break the rules
Yes.
after you have an understanding of the rules, but not just this, I don't care, whatever it is my idea. There's this solid foundation they created, that
Mm,
music should have roots. Music
mm,
should have roots in either theory, or even in when you're studying other world culture, other ethnomusicologists. Dr. Lusaji was heavy on that, like studying music from other worlds, understanding why cultures affect the music of a people, and knowing why that culture matters to the people, and not just putting it aside and saying,
mm,
it's just their culture, it's barbaric. No, you don't do that to people's culture. You don't you
right.
don't you don't relegate it. You use it, you pick it up, you learn from it. So, and I think from Dr. Lusaji, one of the things that he would make us listen to music from different countries, And then another person is Tunde Jegede. He was an artist in Muson. Tunde Jegede had this concert where he will bring people from Ethiopia. He will bring people from
Yeah.
Kenya. He will bring people from different like instrument I've never seen in this world. And then this tiny little thing, this instrument would be playing something amazing. And then he would even come to class. It would come to class and play some of these instruments and make us create music with whatever instrument he comes up with. And we didn't know that we have that in us, and he would allow us create freely. Like, oh, Tunde Jagada was amazing. He would just make us create freely in class. And then we'll sing maybe a line, someone else will repeat a line. That repetition, that conversation, he will insist that music has to be a conversation. Music have to speak to. He would use music have minds of its own. They have mind of its own. It has a mind of its own. So understand the mind behind the music. So
Right.
I think
Wow.
so because of that, and then I have the church background. Like I am very heavy on gospel music,
Mm.
the church background, and then the street music. So it's like I have so many things happening in my head at the same time. Like, okay, so there is the classical, there is the church music, there is the street music, the Lagos street music, the Fuji, the high life. The I know high life is not Nigerian owned, but we've adopted it like ours. So the high life, the
It's something
half.
we share. We share.
Yes,
We share with Ghana.
yes, we have to share. So the Afro music. I remember having a sit down with a friend, and he was like, "What do you really want to do?" I'm like, "I just have lots like." I'm open to a lot of music in my head. And remember I told you about the Egun music. That's the music from
Yes.
Benin Republic.
Mm.
So the exposure is a lot. That's why I said maybe if I had my own mindset strong enough before the exposure for a different culture, probably I might not have issues trying to figure out some of these things now. I'll probably have, I know this is what I'm sticking to, regardless of what you're bringing. So that other cultures, has always been. And I remember just saying to someone that I think I'll still have to do masters in ethnomusicology at this
Oh.
point
Oh.
because, yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm hearing sound. I'm like, oh my god, can you hear? Did you hear that? I'm excited about listening to other people's music. It's such an exciting stuff. I can
And I
go
still
on
think it's
and
good.
on. I
No, no,
I
no, it's
can
okay.
go.
I still think it's a good thing that you had all of these influences that are continuing to inspire the music that you are composing, right? I know you say like, oh, maybe if I just had this one little narrow view, but no, I love the way that it all
You
comes
like
together
it?
and then it makes your music creative.
Oh, now you're making me blush.
See? No, but that's the goal. So that's awesome. Um, okay. So what music teaching methods do you use? Because you say you still teach, right?
Yes.
So what teaching methods do you use?
Um, when you say teaching method, what would that refer to? Like, I want you to break that down.
Okay. Um, I'm thinking about teaching method, like how, let's say you have somebody that is new to singing that comes into, your, whether it's your class or says, okay, I want you to be an instructor for me. How would you get them closer to being, a singer in the same way that you are? Or would you tell them like, oh, you have to go and learn this, you have to go and learn that before you can come and work with me? I'm wondering the way that you get somebody from not knowing anything to knowing more.
Okay, I get that. No, okay. So for me, um, I think it's still the usual African traditional way, the oral passage, the
Mm.
um, what I do,
Mm.
imitate me, imitation.
Mm,
I remember, I think in the choir, I also trained choirs, and then like, okay, so this time the choir had issues with learning notes, being, singing the right notes, and also tone quality, and have explained it for a very long time. Do this, and then it wasn't working. So I said, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to have 4 weeks of learning by imitation. I'm going to create a playlist based on what you sound like. I'm going to get artists that are already good in this sound, and I'm going
mm,
to give you 4 weeks to listen to a song, just one song. You don't listen to another song in between these 4 weeks. If you want to listen to, not for learning, but for just maybe leisure, you want to just listen to music. But for learning, you learn this song for 4 weeks. Listen to this music, and sing. Try to sing exactly like what you're hearing, even
mm,
though I wanted them to be themselves. I still wanted them to have a picture of what they should sound like, and
mm,
then imitate that. And then after we did the 4 weeks, it was amazing. Like, it was as if, it just broke them into this new phase of, oh, so I could do this. And then we now started building originality from there. So when I'm explaining tone, when I'm explaining notes, I'm explaining riff and runs, I'm explaining the rhythm, because of the study of this other music, of this particular artist, they understand it. Or when they are listening to music, they're like, oh, I like that note. They're paying attention
mm.
just by being associated with an artist that knows what they are doing.
Right.
So
That makes
yeah,
sense. It makes
yeah.
sense.
So
And oh, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah, it's fine. I'm done.
Okay. No, but it makes sense. It's like you know, instead of teaching somebody how to drive, it's like, okay, bring out the book. What does it say about this thing in the car, that thing in the car? You say, okay, well, if you want to learn how to drive, come. I'm driving. You'll see me driving. Go and watch these other people when they drive, and then okay, now it's time for you to be the one that's driving. So it's like a way of them. I mean, to a certain degree, mimicry, but it's allowing them to become comfortable with seeing somebody doing the thing that they want to do, and then being able to start from there, master that, and then move on to a way that it becomes original and comfortable for them, which is important. I like that. Um, are there any organizations that or groups that have helped to sponsor your music development, including like churches or religious institutions? So you can just go and name them. I know we've talked about a couple, but this is like almost like your time for shout outs.
Yeah, haha, yes, 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 yes. I'm excited. So, first of all, the first group, I said I started 2004. Like,
Mm,
that's when I started. The voice training. There's this voice training school called Vocal Plus. Vocal Plus was
mm,
a part of a music group called Lifestyle. Lifestyle was we had a group of people. I think we're like 12 or so. I think yes, we're more than five anyway. Lifestyle, because they were strong in performance, singing R&B but gospel.
mm,
We sing R&B, we sing, like really cool music. They were really cool, and I'm like, I want to be part of this. I think I remember telling the owner of the school, like, I just want to learn how to ad lib, I'm
mm.
not, you know, and his name is Harold Hetta. I'm like, I don't want to, I don't know this singing they're doing. I have a good voice, but I just need to know how to ad lib, how to do riff and runs, not, I was feeling like I know what I was doing. But I think that was just the attraction that brought me in. And then by the time I got to the class and I'm hearing breathing in as a singer is not the same as breathing in as a normal human being. I'm like, is it not the same lungs that we have? Like, is it not just breathe in, breathe out, that's it, And then he started explaining, what I should do, no, um, don't breathe in with your chest raised high. You have to relax to produce a sound. How your vocal cord works, vocal cord health, your vocal cord, health. How to take care of your vocal cord. How your vocal cord is in your body, meaning that you have to take care of your body to take care of your vocal cords. And I'm like, is it not just to open your mouth and sing? Why? What's happening? What's happening? Yeah, so I'm like, okay. So then after I realized that, oh, it's not just, it wasn't just opening of the mouth and just singing. It has a lot to do with, agility. It has a lot to do with your willingness to learn something new. So I was curious. So there's more. So there's more. And then there's more. And then I think that's where I got introduced to music theory of music in a bit. And then I met Victor Igbegbuna, who was then the Muson diploma student. And then I got to know
Oh,
like, so does this exist? People are doing music for a living. And I think someone was performing, Tunde Shoson was performing on stage, and then I heard he schooled in Trinity College of Music. I'm like,
oh,
really? So this thing can. I didn't think it was, I didn't think people were living off music,
mm,
especially classical music. So
mm,
I think that was where the fascination started from. And then like, so wherever this gets to, whatever knowledge this is, I want to get to the end of this knowledge. I want to know everything. I want to understand this music. I want to live inside this music. So,
mm,
and then so I had these conflicts like contemporary and classical. So how do I continue singing contemporary and not affect classical? How do I continue to sing classical and not affect contemporary? When I say contemporary, church music, because that's
mm,
what the group that I started learning from. That was what I learned how to do church music and soulful music.
mm,
So the clash was there, the confusion. Although it wasn't something that should be confusing, but I
mm.
think there was no information enough that you can actually do both. There was just this, I don't know, unnecessary tension between two worlds. Like if you are
Right.
singing classical, you can't sing contemporary as
Yeah.
well as
Do
someone.
one, then
And
the other.
yeah, I'm like,
Mm,
what's going on? It's music, guys. It's
right.
music.
Right.
should
Right.
be should be enjoyed.
Mm,
So that
mm,
that that friction was there, but then so I quit singing contemporary music so I could really understand the classical music.
mm.
I really wanted to, since it was what I was learning in school and I need to practice and pass
Right.
exams,
Focus on one. Yeah. Yeah.
focus. So I did that shift. But guess what? I do more of contemporary now.
Yes.
So
That's what I
I
tell.
think yes, I think when it's needed, I can. I think all these experiences, as I didn't think about it then when I was going through all of that, but I think it's
Mm,
made me understood the two worlds, and so I
mm,
teach classical students, and they do so well, and I
mm.
teach them to also do contemporary without losing their sound in classical music. I feel
Right.
like it's a blessing that I went through all the stress to hack that process of singing and not losing your voice in the end, just retaining your naturalness even in learning music, in doing art music. For this, like I think most times people say art music and street music are not, but I feel like no, they can actually coexist.
They can work together. So you
Yes.
mentioned this initial group lifestyle, I think. You mentioned Yuzon. Where else did you go to learn music? Will you not mention Unilag? You won't shout them out.
So that's the back. That's like way back the 2004. I finished in uni like 29 2014.
Okay,
So that was me going way back. So then it
okay.
now moved into after I understood that classical and contemporary can live in the same world. When I got
Mm,
into Unilag was more like African music. Don't lose your
mm,
culture. The Western are
mm,
coming to take everything we have, retain the culture. And I'm like, okay,
mm.
okay. I thought we were going to just do classical music, but that
Right.
was where, I told you about how Dr. Usoji talked about ethnomusicology, like how he made sure that we understood
No problem.
music from other worlds, cultures of different people and music. So that also opened me up to, oh, so I shouldn't lose this sound. And I think that's where Olusomi was born from. I think he was even the one that gave us the task to compose for our final project. Olusomi was one of my final projects in school. And I'm like,
Okay,
okay,
wow.
I think I want to use my dialects. I want to use my, as based on what I've been learning here, I
Mhm.
should put it to work. And I think that's what brought that out. So there is
Wow.
lifestyle, there's Muson,
So,
there's Unilag. Muson, Unilag.
what's
And
your
church
party?
music. Church
Church,
music.
church, church.
I was a
What
music
church?
I was a music director for in Foursquare Gospel Church.
Okay. Foursquare.
Yes.
Like the
Do you
whole
know Foursquare?
Foursquare in Nigeria.
They have a branch, Shomolu
Okay.
headquarter and Shomolu zonal headquarter. Yeah,
Okay,
just a
wow.
part, like a big family in the Foursquare.
Okay, wow. I know all these Nigerian churches. Like there's
You
I
do?
know like yeah, when like when you be driving on Lagos to Ibadan Express, like I don't they have like one campground there, whether it's in Ogun State or by the time you reach Oyo State. And then no, yeah, I mean even when I was in Nigeria I played at Christ Embassy. I played at and I have issues with that now, the theology, but that's a whole other story. Christ Embassy, my aunt and uncle in Redeemed, even here in the US, my mom, she goes to MFM. So I played a little bit everywhere. And then even like when you let's say you go to Unilag, you're in Yaba, it's like, they have the MFM, at least music headquarters is like there, you understand? So it's like there's all these influences and as a saxophonist is like they're always looking for someone who can do this thing or do that thing. So yeah, I'm familiar with some of them. So that's an accomplishment being at least for Shomolu, and again Shomolu is not small. It's not small. And
No,
so it's big. That's a big thing, being the music director for that kind of area. So I give you kudos with that. Okay, it's just I'm trying to make sure we hit every point. And then yeah, I like the way that you explained feeling like, oh, contemporary and classical are somewhat in opposition, um, and how you brought them together because both sounds are important. But I love how you say you work with that, for your students as well. It's like, even though you might love classical is not going to get you paid. Nobody's like looking for classical performers, even in Europe. Doesn't matter where you are, US, nobody's looking for classical performers mostly. They're looking for contemporary performers, let alone church music. And so sometimes it feels very different to learn one thing that they're saying is valuable. And this is like, what you should be learning as an instrumentalist. But this is the thing that when you go out into the world, people really care about, right? It's like they care about popular music. They care about, these songs that they know. They care about, things that are, not to say classical music isn't enjoyable, but they care about these other things that, in the classical music world, they say nobody cares about this and it's not important. So I like how it came together and how, ironically enough, African music brought them together for you when you went to Unilag, right? So that's cool. Um, So, what types of music influence your musical practices? You talked about gospel music. You talked about classical music. You talked about this Egun music in Benin Republic. What else do you add to that one?
Afro music, Afro pop.
Afro, the whole
The Afro pop, the new sound now,
the Afro
the
beats.
the
Yes,
Afrobeat,
yeah,
the contemporary Afrobeat, because the
yeah,
original Afrobeat is very is Fela-ish, and then we have
yeah.
I listen to gospel music most of the time, like Great Man
Mm.
Takit. I don't know if you know Great Man Takit. It's a
What's that? Is
gospel.
it Bidemi, Ola Obi? What's his Mercy Chinwo? Some of these other
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
These Moses Bliss. These
Nice, nice,
guys.
yes.
No,
Yeah,
no,
so
yeah, I'm sure, I'm sure. Yeah.
You're doing good. You're doing good.
I remember some of these guys.
Yeah, so the Great Manta Kids, the
Okay.
Gaze Baba, the
Mm,
the Afro gospel, the vibe right now,
mm,
being open to that too. So if you want to mention that, so it's like the rave of the moment. And
mhm.
if you're in the music space and you're like, no, I don't do that, you are going to lose. You
Right, right, right.
Yes, you're going
Yeah.
to lose. So it's one of the things I also believe in is actually growing in music. Not being
Mm,
rigid in terms of creativity. Just
mm,
you remember what I said when it was a lot like classical music and contemporary music seemed like they didn't want to mix in that period, and it
mm.
was a lot. I'm like I can do both. Why
Why
not
not?
leave me to do both? Why not,
Mm,
so the growth in music now, music is changing.
mm,
Music is changing, everything is evolving, so you have to
mm,
evolve. So for me, I adopt styles of music. It's so because of that traveling exposure that I have. I'm not like, no, I'm not taking this. No, this is bad music. I'm open to listening to new music. So that's how I
mm.
add Afro pop to it, Afro gospel to it, and say this is part of my influence right now. This is one thing that is influencing my thinking aside from the classical, contemporary, the church music. My influence now is also in Afro pop, Afro gospel.
Okay. That's good. That's good. We did talk about some of the instruments that you use in your musical practices. So it's mainly voice. You also know a good amount of the piano. I think you also mentioned, was it like clarinets,
Clarinet, yes,
trumpets?
clarinet and trumpet.
Okay, okay, okay. Do you use any African instruments? Like for me, I play some ilu ganga. I play some ganga. Do
You do?
you?
Nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's what it was fun when I was in Ibadan. But are there any sort of African instruments that you use in your own music practice?
Yes, so we have the omele. That's what's
Oh
called
yeah,
the
omele
omele.
bata. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, omele, yes, the bata drum.
You
And
have the three omele bata.
no, I don't
Yeah.
I don't own it, but when we go to the
Okay.
studio, we get people to play it for the music that
Okay.
we're doing. And then the good part is technology. You
Hmm.
can you can get a sample of that and infuse it in your music. Yeah.
Right.
So
Right.
and then the gongo drum is a constant because what is African music without gongo talking drum? It's
Right.
a constant in the music. The
Mm.
the talking drum, the omelette of the bata drum,
Omele bata.
and then
Omele bata.
shekere. As much
Check
as it
her.
looks
Yeah.
little, it does a whole lot to your rhythm. It does a whole lot to your rhythm. So yes, I use
Yes.
African musical instruments. You can't.
Okay.
Like I said, I like music from other people. So I like
Mm.
my own cultural music. I like the street music that we have. Like I said, Fuji. Fuji
Mm.
is the street shakere. Giving it the vibe like
Mm. Mm.
giving the time and all of that. Are you
Mm.
hanging? Can you hear me?
Yeah. It's like you're cutting in and out right now, in and out. But I can hear. I can
Can you
hear
hear
some
me?
of what you're saying. You're cutting
So
in
let
and
me
out.
put on my video. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Put up my video again so I can.
Okay,
Yes, I
so we'll
can
move
hear you now.
forward. Okay. No,
So I
but
was
I was
saying,
hearing what you
yes,
were
the
saying.
shakira, it looks really small. Oh, good. Keeps it really. I think it's frozen again.
No, I can hear
The
you.
Yeah, and then different ensemble from the drums. Basically, African music doesn't exist without the drums. It's heavy on the drums.
Mm.
Different types of drums, like makes African music enjoyable.
Mm,
So yes, they are part of my music. They are part of my practices.
mm.
The drums,
Okay.
basically, drums, piano, then
Okay.
the regular
Trumpet,
Western
clarinets.
instrument, guitar, the
Oh,
yeah, the
voice.
orchestra actually. Yes, the orchestra, my voice,
Mm,
full part, SATB.
mm. Okay.
The orchestra
That's
too.
good.
I like having the
The whole.
orchestra,
Mm,
the whole team.
okay.
Yes,
Mm, okay. And it makes sense. I think with digital audio production, it's like you can incorporate all of these sounds into what it is you want to do, right? You don't have to compromise, which is really nice. It's like even if you're a singer, even if you only let's say you only play this one instrument, you can use digital audio production and your own creativity to put everything together, which is nice. So, um, in what ways do you see the art music industry changing for African art music? Do you see, kind of like this change in the community that will be able to accommodate or to give space to some of this classical music, right? That maybe you might create or say you have interest in compared to before? Because I know you were saying it's like, okay, people only want to hear whether it's popular music, whether it's church music. Do you see things changing for African art music?
definitely. It's already changing.
Mm,
It's already changing.
okay.
Like everything is mixed in modern music. You
Mm,
like you you'd see that for example for myself, the movement, the moving around, a lot of people have exposure to different elements, and
mm,
it affects us, it affects our music, it affects everything that we stand for, and that's happening to Africa. We are moving into, Africans are traveling, Nigerians are traveling out of the country.
mm,
We have the internet that gives us the exposure that sometimes we don't need, but yes, we have it. So
mm,
all the exposure comes into play even as of now. And like I said, I said, the when you say Afro music, right now we're calling it Afro pop. What does pop have to do, with African music? It's pop music. Popular music is Western, African, and but because we've adopted, you know, the popular music of the Western, of the Western music, and we've been able to infuse it with our style, with who we are. It's now
mm,
part of our culture too. And then we have Afro hip hop, we have Afro
mm,
music, Afro gospel.
mm,
So
mm,
music is changing. It's bound to happen because we have different exposure now. We have access to information. We have access to even moving around.
mm.
And if you try to retain that old, let me use the word old school music, you would actually be going into extinction. In a
Right.
sense, you have
Mm,
to improve on that. People
mm,
will like it. You will still have selected people who are like, I'm sticking to this, I'm sticking to this sound. I don't want it
mm,
mixed. You will still have that, but for
mm.
how long?
Right. So things are always growing, they're always changing, and for you,
Yes,
you
things are.
see you see this expansion of opportunity for African art music, but seemingly through other forms of music as well, right? So it's like you might hear some elements that get people interested in African art music in this Afro pop that you're listening to, or you might have something that gets you interested in African art music through this Afro gospel that you're hearing, right? It's like the people that are creating those musics are also still informed by this thing that is connecting you, which is African art music, or at least having studied art music or classical music to want to do something different, right? Even Fela, right? He's just a good example. It's not like he didn't study Western art music before. He now said, okay, this is what I want to do. And for people that can hear both, then when you listen to his music, you can hear the influences of both sides. So I just hear you saying that African art music is always going to continue to grow and continue to change as
Yes.
music in Africa continues to change, and people will be able to listen to any music. And if that is an influence, then they'll be able to go back and say, okay, well, I want to know more about it. And hopefully it continues to grow in that way, right?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay,
Basically, yes. Yes. Yes.
it's good. Um, so just three more questions, then we're done. I know it's been a while. What careers or hobbies or pursuits do you have outside of your musical practice, and how do they inform your musical practice? So I know you said you're a singer professionally, choir director, other things like that. But is there anything else that you do that, sustains you as a person?
Yes.
Not
So
music, not music.
yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I have a
Okay.
lot. So aside from music, I went into a movie. I went to a movie school, a film school. I
Mm,
went to a film school. I learned production design.
mm,
Production designs are you know what production designs are. We create the
mm,
atmosphere for the movie, and
mm,
we create
mm,
the picture that you're looking at. The we can create make you believe that Wakanda is a real place in Africa.
mm. Right.
Yes. And
Mm,
then we can make where you are right now, we can turn it to a hospital, we can turn it to different things. So
mm,
I just started growing passion for more art in
mm.
terms of movie, plays, musical. So I did one of the things that that I added to my annual carol service was I said no more general carol. We wish you a Merry Christmas. Let's do something else. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the exposure to film industry, and then I also did I also was also stage manager for opera in Muson.
Okay. Wow.
Yes, and then costume design. This opera, the Marriage of Figaro that was done this year, I managed the costume. I did costume design for that. And then so for my back to the carol, I was like, okay, let's do total art. Let's put music, play, um, media. Let's put everybody in the same place. Let's work. Let's bring out something. We did a story. We created a script and we did a musical for the Christmas concert. And we've done it like 4 times now. I'm hoping to get more sponsors
Wow.
to make it bigger. Yes,
Hmm.
we call it Ayeye.
Ah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Wow.
Yes, yeah, Ayeye is like party in Yoruba.
Mm.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, yeah. Mm,
Yeah, so we like celebrating the birth of Christ in Yoruba
mm,
way, in a musical way, and just telling different side of the stories of the birth of Christ. At some
mm,
point, we used the Herod side of the story. There was a time we used the Mary's view, and then there was time we used the I think different views of the birth of Christ, to create a musical. And then I do meat business. I sell raw meat.
oh, okay.
Yes, because food is very important.
Yes, yes. Everybody has to do something, man. I, I mean, maybe as a Nigerian, it might be insulting for me to ask, like, oh, like, what else do you do besides this main thing? Because in Nigeria, it's like everybody has multiple things they're doing to make ends meet and to be fulfilled in the society, right? They say, man, people might look at Nigeria and say like, oh, we're lazy, or we deserve what's happening. But really, when you talk to the people, when you talk to young people on ground, it's like they're doing so many things to try and sustain themselves. And it seems like you, even though, again, you are a professional musician, you still have all these other things that are sustaining you and allowing you to make ends meet, which is really good. So, um, just two
Yeah.
more. Oh, unless you want to add something.
Yeah, no, yes, I wanted to say that all of this doesn't touch my core. So that's the thing. If they don't touch the music the core of music.
Right.
They don't touch the core,
Mm.
you know.
Yes, right. So just other things that you do, but it's
Yes,
not the same as, that thing
yes,
that you are pursuing.
yeah.
Um,
If you
sorry, go
call
ahead.
me now and say, oh, we would like you to supply us meat, and we would like you to supply this and this, and then a music concert comes, I'm like, I'll see you guys later.
Right.
I got it.
Yeah, you have to wait, or
Yeah, so yeah,
mm,
so
mm,
it doesn't touch the core part of me. So
that makes sense. Why do you continue to pursue music?
it's fulfilling. It's very
Mm,
fulfilling.
mm,
I think I've been asking myself this question because I'm like, why, like these other businesses can actually grow into big businesses. And then I
yes.
started my master's in business administration. Why? Because I'm
Oh
like,
wow.
oh, I have a lot of ideas. How I
Mm,
need to put structure to them. And even my music, like I need to put structure to, the music business side. I know
mm,
MBA is not music business, but I know it will lead, like the knowledge I'm going to get here, I can apply it also to my music, and then eventually get
yes.
to do music business
Mm,
studies later. But I just felt like I have so many things that are going on in my mind, but they are not structured. And because it
mm,
isn't structured, it's not affecting the society as much as I would love it to. So I wanted to put structure to these ideas. So I
mm.
started my master's this year. And
Okay. Unilag or
no, I'm doing an online school, Miva Open. I'm running from Unilag, like after my first like, no. Thank you.
so Open University, right? Open
Open
University.
University, yes, an
Okay.
online school
No,
for
I know it
flexibility.
well.
Yes, for flexibility. And like I said, I
Mm,
teach music. I teach music it's
mm,
a full-time job. I
mm,
teach in a school.
mm.
I teach KS1
Like
in youth
you teach at a secondary school, primary, secondary.
primary foundation,
Okay.
EYFS, and early years foundation stage music.
Okay.
So I'm
Wow.
responsible for a child to love music for the rest of their lives.
Right.
So
It's a
that's
hard
it.
job, but you're doing the most
It
important
is.
job.
When they're saying I'm tired, I'm like, okay, no problem. So that they can like music. Like, no, sit down
Mm.
there. You have to learn this thing. No, you have to really, because you want them to really like it in the future and not say, my
Right.
music teacher did not let me like music.
Right. You're the one that's introducing them to something that
Yeah,
hopefully, even if they
something
don't
great.
pursue it seriously, they'll be able to appreciate it and advance with it somehow.
Yeah, so I'm responsible for people's future. So I try to make
Okay.
it very interesting and fun.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
there's that part. So yes.
Mm. And then this is the last question. How do you feel about the concept of Pan-Africanism and what does it mean to you? I think your description of being in Benin Republic and then also in other parts of, Nigeria, it's like your perspective about Pan-Africanism will be maybe a little different than other people. And so what do you have to say about Pan-Africanism? How do you feel about it? And what does it mean to you from your own experiences?
Um, I think maybe from the earlier question we talked about it, but for me, it's
Mm,
almost like we're uniting culture. You know
mm, mm,
that's you know we're uniting culture. We're sharing our history with the world. You know
mm,
one of the things that I see happening, I think I saw a YouTube video of a saxophonist. I can't remember his name, but he's not a Nigerian. He's not an African. I think he's very African. He's very American, and he was playing the Afro, all the Nigerian Niger rave, the Nigerian pop music, the Wizkid, the Davido. He was playing all of that with the saxophone, and guess what? It had millions of views, and I'm
mm,
like, okay,
Mm.
Even we with the real sound, some of us don't even have millions of views. But what it
Right,
made me
right.
realize is that because of that openness, people are beginning to see us.
Mm.
People are beginning to identify with us, even if they are not from here.
Mm.
You see people bearing Nigerian names. I have a student,
Mm.
the child's name is Igbo name, but they are not even close to being a Nigerian or an African.
Right.
So what it's becoming, it's we're exporting, we're importing, becoming like we're sharing our values with other people.
Mm.
It's it's helping us to see the world, or it's also helping the
Right.
world to see us. So it's like a two-way
Right.
street. It's a two-way
Yes.
street, and it should be encouraged because
Mm.
if we hoard it and say no, let's keep it. No, it's not supposed to. It's supposed to be with us. It's not. It's not for them.
Mm.
Uh, Extinction or something.
Yeah. Right, right. So
So,
it seems like it's one step, right? And that being visible is important, but it's like still more needs to happen from just being visible to, it's my hope one day as well that this idea of Pan-Africanism or even what we're sharing leads to better outcomes for both sides, right? It's not that just in like let's say like US or Europe that, now you have children bearing Igbo, Yoruba names, right? And or enjoying this aspect of popular music, but that the connection that we have will improve the lives of people on the continent, like in Nigeria, as well as those that are outside of the continent. And so it's waiting, at least for me, I'm always waiting for those two things to come together. But it seems like
but
what you're
yeah,
describing is the start.
I think that's a very valid point. It's one of the challenges of that.
Mm.
I think funny thing is, I feel like most Nigerians don't understand intellectual property. So
No.
when someone comes in and take your idea, we don't fight.
Mm.
We just leave it. And that's the thing. Is it making us better? Is it improving our infrastructure? Is
Right.
it improving the life of people here? I think that should be an ongoing conversation, and I think it's
Right.
something that we really, really need to talk about it. We really need to educate Africans. We need to educate ourselves about protecting our intellectual property, protecting our art, protecting our creativity, but not in
Mm.
the sense of not hoarding it or not allowing other people know but just this legally protecting some of the things that we have. It's
Right.
like our mind,
I agree.
not just uprooting it. Like, yeah, it's really a conversation that should, I feel like Akojoko is really doing great in that. Like, I remembered when, my song was asked for, I was just like, anything, what do you need? Just take it. And then I realized that there is a set process, to be able to put the song, and then we have to have an agreement and all of that. I'm like, oh, okay, okay, this is good. And I learned something from there. So I feel like it's something, if there will be any suggestion for a workshop or a teaching that should happen from Akojoko to, to Africans or to us on this side. It would be, let's have conversation around Pan-Africanism. How are we
Mm.
getting more from it, or are we getting less? How is it
Right.
improving us as a people? Is it
Right.
improving? Is it really improving? Are we really improving based on infrastructure?
Right.
You know,
And that's what I argue with a
not
lot of
just
people about that.
popularity. We now know you. We now know
Yes.
Nigerians. We know this sound is from Nigeria. We know our
Yes.
name is out there. But are we
Mm.
rich from that? Are we getting anything in return?
Right. I completely agree with you. Like, something that they take out of the continent or something that was the idea of a Nigerian is like some other person would be using that same idea, making millions with it. And, what happens to that person that is, a Nigerian that's not able to make money from that thing the way that somebody else that is doing the same thing is making money from that thing. And so, I mean, in a lot of ways, hopefully I get to write on like, Afro beats in the near future, but I critique a lot of the Afrobeats economy, and I think a lot of the scholars that even are here in the U.S., whether they be, from the continent, they get the opportunity, or just generally, always with this sort of Afro diasporic angle in mind. A lot of them look at what is happening in a positive way, or at least in a way that is supposedly like contributing to this growth and popularity of like African identity. But I don't think a lot of them are looking at it, the way that, let's say, the popular music industry is growing for what Africa can produce, but it's not really finding its way back to those countries or those communities. And even when you think about the infrastructure, like you said, yes, we have Maven Records. Yes, we have YBNL under Olamide. Yes, we have Chocolate City. We have these sorts of, these structures, but a lot of those organizations are already owned by these multinational companies. When an artist becomes big in Nigeria, they immediately take them to London, Atlanta, New York, other places to record, and you don't see that person again unless they want to go to their multi-million-dollar property on the island. And we have to really ask ourselves, is this growth of popular music in Nigeria really going back to Nigerians in the ways that it should be, right? Or is it really just making those individuals very popular? And are Africans really taking part in popular music, or is it really just this thing between the Afro diaspora and the next thing that the continent is able to produce? So it has to be a more balanced conversation that I don't think we always
Yeah,
get to. So,
yeah,
but anyway,
yeah.
okay, Aderayo, I appreciate your time. I know it's late on your own side. It's 9. So, but it seems like you have light. So, what, you're on the island, right?
Yeah, it's been fun. I think this is good. This is really good.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me. Um,
I
we
really
just
appreciate you too, because you like some of the conversation and even you sharing more light. I think I'm the one enjoying this more.
no, but it's
Yeah,
good. It's
it's
good,
been
and
good.
we just want to really bring these sorts of narratives, what you guys believe as composers and people that are working within African art music. We want to bring what you believe to larger audiences, so people be able to know you, identify you by things that you've said, and a lot of these conversations that you brought up, we in Akojokbo and beyond can use them to do these things that you're asking for. Like think about copyrights and who owns what when it comes to music on the continent. I think we've already had one conversation about that, but I can always tell Daniel, and there's always room for more, and about so many other things. So I really appreciate your time. Okay,
Thank you.
I'll let you rest then.
Okay. All right. Thank
Okay.
you, Joshua, for having me.
As we close today's conversation, we're reminded that Pan-African art music is more than a sound. It is a memory, movement, and meaning. At Akojokwa Music Foundation, we exist to listen, to document, and to support the artists and cultural workers shaping this living tradition. To learn more about our work, our programs, and how you can engage with this growing community, please visit akojokwa.org. Thank you again for listening, and until next time.
Àkójọpọ̀.